everyone, my name is Chelsea and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I'm asking what would you do if there was no Goodreads? So I want this to be just like a sit down discussion video based on something that happened recently. This is not to bash on anybody or anything like that, but mostly I'm curious and I don't quite know how to feel. But I funded a Kickstarter near the end of last year and the books have recently come in, and right before the books came in, the author said, do not add these books on Goodreads. And the thing is, I understand sort of where they're coming from in the fact that they had some people add other books at the end of 2023 that they picked up, I guess, at maybe a convention or something, and people were adding in the wrong page number and the cover wasn't a good image and this kind of stuff. And so I completely understand being like, hey, please don't add anything to my author page on Goodreads, but they do not want any of their books on Goodreads. Even the ones that we just got on Kickstarter. Because eventually, near the end of this year, they're gonna put an omnibus edition together of the things that we have and we're able to get through Kickstarter, and they want that to be their only edition available. So obviously I asked, like, hey, what exactly do you mean about this? Because I know for me being a reader and a lot of other people being a reader, Goodreads or StoryGraph, and like this counts for StoryGraph too, it's not just Goodreads, but they specifically said Goodreads. We like to count our books read and our page numbers read, and they do not want their books anywhere. And the thing is, I have the two new editions of these stories. I funded the first one on Kickstarter last year, got it in last year, read it last year, asked them, hey, are you gonna put this on Goodreads? And they did, 100%. But now I have two more books in this series, or I guess short stories. They are like zine-like, and I would read them individually, and I would want to put them on Goodreads individually, and they said, no, we're not doing that. And I was like, okay, and like, this is something that I really enjoyed last year. I really like the concept of, I'm not going to mention them in this video because I don't want it to be like a big thing necessarily, but even when that omnibus edition comes out, if I decide to wait until then and then only read these two books, if I count those two books as the omnibus edition, the page count is still not going to be correct. Now, I also have spreadsheets that I use. I can definitely go in and adjust page number that way, and I will, but it's just like for my digital presence, they're saying do not do this. And the reason they're saying this is because they want to get published by a publisher, and they said that publishers do not like your Goodreads to have too many things on there and to look too messy, otherwise they won't sign you. If I have anybody watching my videos that is in publishing or is an author, even if it's an indie author, like, what do you think about this? Because I just don't fully understand that reasoning. I 100% got the please do not add stuff to my Goodreads without permission because I want to make sure it's right. But to just say that you only want one edition of your book to be the definitive edition when you already have other editions out, and then also saying that it's because you want to get signed by a publisher or something and they won't like it, like, I just don't know about that. And that brought me to this whole thing, like, this is the story to lead up to this video, basically, of like, what would you do if there's no Goodreads? Because like, they're basically asking us to not use Goodreads on their books, to not do stuff. And like, if I read their books, I'm going to talk about on this channel, like, I am a bookish content creator, but at the same time, they're saying don't go on Goodreads, don't go on StoryGraph. Like, I feel like that would be promoting their book in a way. I don't know how I feel about it, because like, I've been on Goodreads since 2012. I don't know when Goodreads started, but since 2012. I started my channel in December of 2017, so I was on Goodreads for like 5.5 years at least before I started a BookTube channel. I started my Goodreads at least 2 to 3 years before I started watching BookTube. I've been on Goodreads for so long. Like, I made a Goodreads and I would go on Goodreads while at work, in between things that we were doing. Like, if I had downtime, I was on Goodreads looking for book recommendations. Like, I remember doing this kind of thing. So I have been on Goodreads tracking my reads since 2012. It's been 12 years. And so the idea of not having Goodreads, I would still be tracking my books, even if I wasn't here on BookTube, like, because I already was tracking my books. I have a Goodreads goal since 2012. What would you guys be doing? Like, if you're not on BookTube, I know a lot of you guys are still on Goodreads, because I know a lot of you guys have found me to follow me or friend me, which I love, but like, if you didn't have the ability to use Goodreads or StoryGraph, if it was just not a thing, what would you do? Would you be somebody who still does like a reading journal or like a spreadsheet? Or do you just like fly by the seat of your pants and just hope that you haven't read that book before? Because I also know I used Goodreads, especially way back in the day, to double check if I owned a book or not. I had shelves for things that I owned because I have too big of a TBR. Or I remember there was one time I went to a bookstore, and this I think was back before Goodreads or back before I had like a Goodreads app on my phone, and I bought a book in a series that I thought was the first book in a series. No, it was the 4th book in a series, and I didn't realize that till I got home and got to check, and then I had to go back and like get another book, and it was actually like the Iron Druid Chronicles by Kevin Hearn, and I have read, I think, books 1 through 3 or 1 through 4. Like, I just eventually went back and got the rest of the series that I missed up till that point. But yeah, like, what would you do if there was no Goodreads? What do you think about this author saying that they don't want some versions of their book on Goodreads? Like, I'm just at this point where I'm like, I'm trying to be as nice as possible. Like, I literally sent them a super nice message just being like, hey, walk me through this. Like, if I read a book, I use Goodreads for page count and all this kind of stuff, so you're saying that you like only want one edition. Like, are you ever gonna put these up there? And they're like, no, I'm never gonna put this edition of this book on Goodreads. Like, they just don't want it. I'm just, yeah. Okay. That, I guess, is the whole video. It's a very short video today. It was just something that, like, I still have trouble wrapping my mind around, and so I'm just hoping that some people have opinions that can discuss this with me. Talk about Goodreads with me, or talk about, like, what do you do, or what did you used to do before these book tracking apps and websites came out, because now I'm curious, because I think I would have found some way to track books, because I've been using it for so long now. So long now. I live by a school, and the school is doing a fire drill. You guys hear it? Okay, that was it. I swear that was it. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. Subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more videos. I do have videos coming out on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and sometimes Saturdays, so I will see you then. Bye.